What's up? It's you guys, Guy. We're back at it with Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. On to the first day of trials for Case 3, and I am very excited to hop into it. Kendra's here as usual, so let's get going.
July 9, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
We're just going straight into court. All right. Court is now in session for... How do I say that? Machi Tovai, Your Honor. The Pixie of the Arpeggio. Right. His trial. Court is in session.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Prosecution is A-okay, Herr Judge.
Oh, he's more than just okay.
Prosecution's feeling so good. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. My opening statement, yeah? No, actually. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. Yes? Say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? Eh? I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? Probably be kicking them when they're down.
What are you talking about?
Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial. The Chief Justice's son. Well, especially because, like, at this point, how old was John in Investigations? He was, like,
He was pretty
14
young.
or something.
Yeah.
No, he was old. They made, like, a point in that game where, like, he was way older than he looked.
Oh.
He was, like, 14. Been, I don't know, at least 7 years since that, because Phoenix still had his badge during Investigations 2. So, 7, 8 years. He'd be, like, definitely an adult at that point. And I don't know if Judge Courtney would have resigned, because as far as I'm concerned, she was a bad judge in that game.
Yeah, from
I don't
what I
know.
saw.
She sucked. I wanted to like her so bad. I really did.
So that could possibly be John.
Could be.
Damn. Anyway, the Chief Justice?
Oh, it's his. Never mind. His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. Doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. Saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending?
Well, a lot of reasons. Just looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for?
In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly.
We'll try.
Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly. You're in luck, Air Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think.
Bang.
First, to review the victim in this case. Romain Latouche, age 35. Global manager for Diva Songstress La Miroir. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
Gimme.
The court accepts this into evidence.
Wait, where do I should go? We don't get to use any of that?
I think that's the second page.
Oh, okay.
35 caliber, wow. A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet. Or kill a guy.
Yeah.
However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. Two shots were fired. One shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. We have another.
Oh boy.
This is where the bullets hit. I see. The court accepts this evidence. We're talking about a 45 caliber revolver. You must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really?
Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body.
The defense will take more care in choosing examples. As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room only has one entrance, this door. That does seem to be the case, yes. However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots.
Me, he's talking about me, oh my god.
Talking about you and Emma, huh?
Yet, when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible!
That's what we're here to figure out.
Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person. One person? That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Tobai.
That's so.
He's little, he scurries around real fast. Only this defendant could have committed the crime?
What made you say that, Cloud? Come on, back up your evidence.
But how?
Use evidence to back up your, claims. There we go.
It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear.
He is so tiny he could fit through that small window.
He just scurries around like a little mouse. Very well, I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand. The prosecution always gets to use just testimony, and we always have to use actual concrete evidence.
Yeah,
that's not
bullshit.
fair. Name and profession, please. I'm Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert from Forum that night.
Emma seems tired somehow.
Security at the concert, you say? Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder. Oh, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen.
More often than you think, this is Ace Attorney after
People
all.
die. It's regular. Made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know.
That's so.
I don't think that's something you should be admitting.
I'm sure that makes her feel much better.
I want to hear about these bigger mistakes.
In any case, because you were on security details, the crime was quickly discovered. And we were able to identify the killer.
You haven't given us any proof yet.
Chill. We give the court your testimony, if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime, please. Alright. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved in the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. Went into the room, filled with blaring rock music, and found the body.
Blaring. Interesting wording there.
Examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. And that's my entire testimony.
You won't elaborate on that at all?
It's giving Detective Gumshoe.
Real.
It was lucky that a detective was first on the scene, not a defendant. Oops.
That door was the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it?
Looks like we need a bit more information.
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
Hold it! The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes?
That's right.
What was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert.
My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods.
Prosecutor Gavin?
Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall.
Conspiracy?
Well, isn't it obvious? My keys. That whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. It's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case.
Oh, baby.
Sweating over this. A big deal for me.
I can't help kiss it better. Teehee.
Just like sobbing.
Real.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them?
Misplaced them?
Yeah, come on. You start showing evidence. How can you prove that they were stolen?
Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hand on their own.
They could, though.
What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, makes you a prime suspect. Consider I'm really cool. Love, slow acting and new. Atrakinine is waiting for you.
I was literally on stage when it happened. We have millions of witnesses.
Singing something.
Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? Yes.
Of course. The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't find anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task.
I see. I can accept that. I can't. What do you mean time on their hands? He's the testimony.
Rock?
Hearing, yes.
See, now she's emphasized it. Pick up on it.
You say rock, are you referring perhaps
To limestone?
this rock and roll music that's so popular these days?
No, it actually was limestone. That's right. When we went into the dressing room. Oh, hell yeah! Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall.
Pipes sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way, people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage.
Did it have to be so loud?
Don't listen to the Gavineers with your ears.
Well, then what the fuck do you use to listen?
You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always has the backstage monitors at full volume.
Dude, you must have really bad tinnitus.
What did you say? I couldn't hear you over the ringing in my ears. We walked in the room. The band was playing Guilty Love, I believe.
If you hate their band so much, why do you know their songs so well?
Because it's a banger. Being easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing.
And everyone on stage for that song has an alibi. Including myself.
Except, we have recording machinery.
Yeah.
What if it was pre-recorded, and that's why the beat was off?
Ooh. Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation.
Well, like, I started it, but whatever. Hold it! How could you know something like that?
As I said, it was clear from the circumstances.
How?
Listen. You know there was only one exit from the room. That door. That small window only opened a tiny crack. And I was standing in front of that door. So, how could the killer have fled the scene?
They didn't, at least not immediately.
There's only one possibility. The air vent.
Or that.
Ah.
But the air vent was too small. Who could possibly?
Exactly.
The only one here smaller than Trucy is Machi. Gasp.
Certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child.
A child?
Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved in the concert were allowed. If all the people involved was the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child.
Not even Trucy, though? I mean, I knew Trucy
No.
was out there and has an alibi, but like, there's only a 1 year difference. They're both children.
But one of them is smaller. The defendant? The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up towards the sky. It disappeared from the scene of the crime.
One second. One second.
Oh yeah.
Pleasure, pleasure, but a fleeting melody. It wraps itself around me, and now through the air I fly. Well, that's a pretty solid accusation now. Fuck. But a fleeting melody. Like the recording being off beat. But again, that was a small vent, so. Guitar, up together in the sky. Damn, this really is all coming together. This really is some fucking Danganronpa shit.
Yeah.
This really does lay out the whole entire fucking thing. God damn. Objection! But that's just conjecture.
Oh, so there's no other way out of the room. What is that? You should know it, forehead. And there is another vital piece of evidence.
Evidence? What?
Marks were found on the air vent grill. Traces that it had recently been opened.
Wait, what?
And something else was found, quite clearly. Defendant, Machi Tobias' fingerprints.
What?
Order, order, order.
Isn't this guy supposed to be blind? Those fucking doing a
That
lot.
air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, air forehead? What fairy tale does this suggest to you?
That romaine lettuce didn't die in the dressing room.
Yeah. Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. That one is our pixie.
Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience.
So this is his decisive evidence.
Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that.
Exclamation point.
The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive.
I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict.
Damn, already? We've
Yeah.
barely started this cross-examination.
I gotta go visit the Prime Justice boy's son.
Right, you are trying to rush this along.
Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit. I'm sure that the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses.
That's a lie.
Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough.
But there was other decisive evidence that proves that there was a direct witness. Ugh, it can't be over already.
Very well. I believe this trial is finished. The defense has no contradicting evidence. The prosecution has presented our proof, clear and plain. You have contradicting evidence.
Oh, I do.
It better be clear and plain.
Oh, trust me, it's crystal clear.
Apollo, they got us pinned. We better come up with something quick.
Pinned, you say? I know. Think, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Mashi's innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, gulp.
Mr. Justice, seem to be having an internal monologue. Do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now.
This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof. I have proof. The defense is prepared to show contradicting evidence.
This should be interesting. What sort of evidence? Yes, what sort of evidence, Mr. Justice? Show us evidence contradicting the prosecution's claims.
Not even flipping through the rest. Lock it in. This evidence does more than contradict. It flips the whole case on its head.
Thank you for presenting evidence that is both clear and plain, as requested.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Yes, clearly and plainly wrong. L plus ratio. I'm afraid the only thing flipped on its head here was you as a child, Mr. Justice. Holy shit,
Oh
burn.
my god!
That was brutal.
Yeah. Also, god damn it, I jinxed it. Fuck you, didn't happen. Fuck you, didn't happen.
Back in time.
Oh. Okay, so that wasn't it for some goddamn reason. That's the NDA. Postcard. We're eventually gonna have to link the postcard to the gem. So the postcard shows her with the brooch.
It's a really tall chair that she's sitting in, also.
Oh, yeah. The gun? Because if a child were wielding that, he would fucking crumble. Honestly, maybe. The writing that we haven't even been allowed to point out yet?
Roll 1137. 11,037.
We'll try the gun, I guess. No, I could just say we have a witness and fucking call Lammy Roar.
Good.
Might as well get that out of the way. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure?
Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And on my million-seller hit song, At Your Canine, My Love.
That's a lot on the table, dear prosecutor.
Here he goes again.
That's too bad, because there was a witness.
Oh, really now? How'd you come to possess this knowledge that the prosecution clearly does not?
Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him now. He's alive. Mr. Lettuce, can you hear me? That's too much echoing to deal with. We've heard this. Can't see. Hang in there. Tell me, who was the witness? The witness is Siren.
Oh. What? The victim said this before he died?
Perhaps he did. And perhaps he did not.
What do you mean by that?
All we know is what Air Forehead says he said.
Oh, now we count that?
No testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself.
Well, I was involved. Which means I probably shouldn't be on this case to begin with. Objection! But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely.
It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Really, this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job.
That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear, contradictory proof from you.
Now do I pull out the brooch?
Phew! This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty.
Oh, it's a 2-bar one.
Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for.
Ugh, there's no backing out now.
Let's hear the name of your witness.
Oh. Not what I was going for, but okay. Take that!
I'm a roar.
Recall Mr. Lettuce's last words. The witness is Siren.
Siren? Aha! He meant the siren.
That's right, the siren of the ballad. Lamiroar. Lamiroar was only on stage for the second set, and she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. She was.
I see.
We have the brooch.
Well, Prosecutor Gavin?
My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime.
We really have to fucking build up to this fucking brooch, don't we?
Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We'll now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lamiroir to the witness stand.
Lamiroar would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today, we'll drag the story out of her, no matter what it is.
It is my distinct honor to welcome the Siren of the Ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind.
Oh, you can speak English.
Yes. Yes, I can.
I'm going to need everyone in the jury to sign an NDA.
If you guys tell everyone about this, I swear to God, I will have to sue you. I am not very good. There is much I do not know.
You speak so well. Have you spent time here before?
Were you perhaps born here?
Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language. Or where I studied it.
What does she mean she doesn't know? She doesn't know?
I too sought to call her as a witness, but I didn't.
Why?
I had a reason, of course.
Why? What's that?
Lamiroir suffers from amnesia.
Convenient.
Amnesia? Marar is not my true name. I remember nothing of the time before I was given it.
Interesting timing. Might want to look into your producer, if that's the case.
Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage.
Oh, she's been more mysterious than I thought.
As lauded singer Lamarar, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress.
Well, too bad. We're after the truth.
I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts.
Unless they're relevant to the case.
You have nothing to fear in this court, Lamarar. Thank you. But there is something I do not understand. I'm being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
It's okay, you were there.
Lamarar, let me be frank. Instead of Clavier. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. But that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand. Oh my.
This is what happens when you hide stuff from me.
Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy.
Shut up! Ugh.
Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. As for what I saw nothing.
Bullshit.
Night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did.
True.
Did not return backstage after the second set.
Bullshit.
And I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there.
Yeah, where did they find you, actually?
That was where I learned something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
Didn't need to be.
I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying.
Should have heard her sing.
Real.
I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying.
There you have it. She saw nothing that night.
Objection!
Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat.
Clavier, look at me. You think I ever admit defeat? Never.
Yeah. Definitely. And refrain from detaining her here longer than need be.
Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go.
Grr. Maybe I will become a bad boy.
Why do good girls like bad
bad
guys?
Oh,
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet.
this question for a really long time.
I've been a bad boy, and it's plain
To see the one girls fall in love with me. Lemur wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. Hold it! Bullshit. But you must have seen something. Mr. Lettuce named you.
Mr. Lettuce? How can I tell you what I don't know?
Lemur. He said you were a witness with his dying words.
I do not know what he meant to say, but that night...
Now can I bring out the brooch? Objection!
Not there.
God damn it. Is that the real fail line right there? Fucking... I'll be able to pull out this brooch eventually.
Yeah.
Alright, we pressed that. We pressed everything. Nothing got added. The NDAs. Just an NDA, really. I wonder if we're gonna have to pull this out to be like, we never mentioned that to you.
Maybe.
It's really fun to do that, but it's also so easy to miss because you're working with all the knowledge that you sometimes forget they're not supposed to be working with all the knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
This is why I saved. Holy shit. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. There's nothing weird about that stage. I did not return backstage after the second set. Do we have to put the brooch on this one?
Maybe? I don't remember if she had the brooch during the
there
thing.
we go.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lemmy-Roar, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not?
Why, that's Lamy Rose. She was wearing it for her song.
Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin?
What?
This brooch was found after the murder took place, at the very scene of the crime.
What?
This is what happens when you leave everything up to Emma. We could have told you this. Would have been happy to. Let me roar. How did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night.
What is the meaning of this? Lemuror, please explain.
Lemuror? Oh no, I've forgotten.
The amnesia, it's back. She says English is quite difficult.
What the fuck? You
She's decided she's monolingual.
That trick's not going to work here. I'm half tempted to translate it.
The forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact.
Clavier, when the fuck did you learn, was it
Borginian?
Yeah. When the fuck did
I
you
said
learn
I took a
Borginian?
semester in college.
What now?
In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment.
So you were lying.
Yeah.
What?
Think back to the moment of the crime.
Bang, bang.
You know whereof I speak.
Is she really saying all that?
What's she talking about, Apollo?
Right when the incident occurred. God, is she talking about that?
Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup.
Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Lettuce, can you hear me? Blah, 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 blah. I'm on death's doorstep. You need to consult the witness. Siren. Siren? Who the fuck is Siren? Yeah, it's Emma. What was that? Who's there?
What's wrong?
Emma, did you see anyone just now?
Huh? No?
I could have sworn I heard a door close.
I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you. So this was when your brooch dropped.
I'm trying to remember if I actually noticed the brooch before that scene. Can't remember, unfortunately.
I don't remember either. That explains that. It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it.
But that's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant when you dropped your brooch?
Air forehead.
Honestly, that kind of pin is
Yeah.
have a few brooches like that. And if I, like, bump them against the wrong thing, then, like, they will fall off.
She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. So she looked in at the crime scene. Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. Knew nothing of what had happened, of course. The moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice.
That was my voice.
Their forehead shouting, "Who's there?" no doubt.
Don't side with her.
It's kind of funny. Horrible voice indeed. Hee hee. I'm a bully.
Ugh.
Close the door immediately. Well, that explains the brooch.
Damn.
Let's return to your testimony.
That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lemroar, you did look into the room though, right?
Yes.
Well, how much did you see? Testify as to what you saw.
Very well, though it was only the briefest of glimpses. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment.
Oh hey, we have the ring button.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hold it! What did you see in that brief glimpse?
I'd only opened the door slightly when I heard that horrible voice. And shut the door. I have always wondered, Air Forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob?
Don't insult my cords of steel like that! Hold it! Who was kind of behind the wall? A wall? Was there a wall there? Yeah. It's like the wall screen.
Is what in English? Division or partition, I believe.
Yep. I mean, it's like the word on it.
It was a large dressing room divided into two halves.
The murder took place on the inside. I guess the partition might have hidden the body. The fourth one and the fifth one, she's not making eye contact. So that's gotta be part of the habit thing. And then this was added dialogue, so I think we
Yeah.
press this one. Eye twitch.
Guess not.
Okay, it wasn't an eye twitch or anything.
Whoa, what is going on with her throat there? Did you see that?
What? No. Oh, there it is. Very subtle.
I only noticed it because I was like, oh, that's weird, her mouth isn't moving at that part. And then I looked and just saw, like, her throat pulsating.
Yeah, she was gulping. The late Mr. Lettuce's body, you say?
Yes?
I was right. He didn't die in that fucking dressing room. You know something more about... You know something more about Mr. Lettuce's death than you're saying.
What?
I could see you're trying not to remember. But the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes. Especially since I have magic. That you might know something about. For some reason.
It's true. So terrible, after all. Did Mr. Lettuce have to be shot?
Why indeed. One moment, let me roar.
Yes?
What was it you just said? Why did Mr. Lettuce have to be shot? Oh, they fucking did it for us. Love when they do that.
Yes?
How did you know he was shot? she was hiding something. I knew it. Lemuror, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony.
Eh? How could that be?
Take this! Lemuror contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. The NDA, we didn't tell you that! Take that! Tell me, Lemuror. How did you know he had been shot?
Well,
Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Lettuce had been shot. How could you have known?
Yo! Lemuror! You aren't hiding something from this court, I hope.
She's a witness and ace attorney. What do you think? That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet.
Now I remember.
I heard the bangs.
Please, allow me to add to my testimony. Of course. All we want to know is the truth.
God, he's so dreamy.
He is.
Looks kinda pale, huh?
She saw something. I know it. Even the victim said so.
I saw the bullets. Ooh.
The bullet holes in the wall. Can I again use your own words against you? You heard my voice and immediately closed the door. And, like, it was, like, adjacent to you. You would have had to actively turn your head to see it. People look forward when they enter a room. You
Every time I enter a room, I look exactly to my right.
How do I dispute this? Because it's just so, like,
It's
it
just
is
press
so
it
flawed.
first.
It is so flawed. What do I throw with this? Also,
Read the diagram?
The positioning of where we found the brooch was just a little too far from the door for that to be that plausible. God. There are so many flaws, but they're too minor for me to call out properly. Actually,
Oh!
there we fucking
door-
go!
Yeah, the door fully blocks it, also.
That also helps. That's great, actually.
Yeah.
Not even saving. Take that. I mean, objection. Lemuror. I didn't even get to read that. But lies are hardly becoming such a creature.
Put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo.
Shut up.
Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah?
Big words coming from you. What if we tied your hair back fully? What then,
And you would have to see my entire beautiful face.
Giant forehead and all.
This is why I make fun of you. It's because I'm insecure about my own forehead.
Come on, can't I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lemuror, you looked in from the door for just a moment, correct?
Yes, that is so.
There were bullet holes in the room, yes. But they were in the wall, the door, the side the door is on.
Eh.
You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes.
York! Emerald.
Yes.
I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point.
It appears you've been holding back something.
She literally could have just said that she heard it, and that would have been enough. But no,
True.
we need more flaws to pick apart.
And I must tell you? Must tell you what it is that I saw?
Yes.
In orange?
Yes. The happenings in this trial are being recorded. And I'm certain it will be on the news in Virginia. You'll understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it.
She already has. Look how many times she's lied already. For real.
Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing.
You have little faith, dear prosecutor. But she knew how Mr. Lettuce died. And he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, let me roar.
Very well. Amarar, please continue your testimony.
Very well, I shall. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it.
Interesting.
There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi.
Really?
It was a grown person. I know it was.
Do elaborate.
So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say?
Ah, this is my first time hearing this, I assure you.
Nice play, Air Forehead. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your cross-examination.
Going, Apollo. You were right about Lee Maror. Wrong. You don't look too happy.
This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Tell me, was it perhaps because the person wielding the gun was the victim, and he was actually shooting at the defendant? Hold it! A grown person. That's a little vague.
I'm sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Actually, you're incredibly fluent.
Certainly you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
We don't have such genders in Virginia.
Virginia likes to not gender people without them confirming their own gender, so I don't know. It was a man, a young man.
You're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear.
Voice.
Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. I hear a voice, I do not forget it.
So if we just round everyone up and have them start speaking?
That voice was the voice of a man.
So you heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Lettuce?
That is also possible.
Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice?
Shit, that's right. So it wasn't Mr. Lettuce's voice you heard, and now we need a man. Let's see, what other man characters have we been introduced to?
I think it was the judge.
If it was Mr. Lettuce who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. You were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is a good testimony.
On the contrary, Jersey, this is great testimony.
Proves it wasn't Machi.
And it proves who it was, because all we have to do is round up the other few people who were around, and a man. Which, you know, once we cross a few people off our list, like, she already called my voice ugly. She would have pegged me immediately. Clavier was on stage. And I mean, Bullethead was supposedly on stage. Actually, no, wait! Oh! That's why the recording was off. Because it was all a perfectly timed recording up until he jumped back in to, like, give himself an alibi.
Ooh. Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony?
I don't think it is contradictory. So we're gonna risk it for the biscuit, you know? Well, I'd have to say it's pretty good. Vital, even. This shows that the shooter wasn't Machi.
Surely you can't be serious here, Forehead.
Oh, but I can be. And I am. Why not?
Let me roar. I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. Lies do not become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean?
Stop covering.
Apollo, what's he talking about?
No one bats an eye when he says stuff like that.
I recall the state of the crime scene quite well.
The state of the room?
Yes, and when the murder took place, that window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it.
Especially with the concert playing on in the background.
What? I'm sure. Let me roar. I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. My opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser.
Objection! But she's the only eyewitness we have.
Sounds to me like she's an ear witness, so you say. The victim named her, the siren, as the witness.
That's right. That's what Mr. Lettuce.
We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Their judge. Yes. Prosecution requests that the witness be excused.
Oh, I thought that said executed.
Kill her. Please.
Please kill her.
Pretty please kill this woman. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. Asked so nicely. It is indeed a question of the witness's credibility.
But if Lemuel can't testify,
We don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence.
This cross-examination is over, Prosecutor Gavin. You may continue making your case.
shit.
Danke. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, I would like to hear from the Fraulein detective again.
Objection! Wait, let me hear Lemuel's testimony one last time.
Cross-examination's already over. Until such a time as a need arises, this witness may leave the stand.
Damn it.
Sorry I could not be of more assistance.
You know, if you had lied less, we could have gotten farther. All these witnesses lying for no reason other than to make your life harder.
Yeah. At last, back to the real trial. Ready, air forehead?
I hope I didn't just miss my only chance.
Fraulein detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted? Ask me.
I zoned out like half an hour ago.
I haven't been paying attention, I've been snacking. I just like saying the same thing twice. I never repeat a song for an encore. You would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Lettuce's killer could have escaped is through that air vent on the ceiling. Ah yes, there was only one door in the room. And a witness, you, was standing in front of it. Air vent isn't very big, see? It limits the people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have a difficult time. Sure would. Not that you would have been in there first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. Only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant. Virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. She does state a clear case. Oh, reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh, what's that?
The time of death, there's such a large range. As soon as
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again?
Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre.
Yeah, like Danganronpa levels. She's right. Why did Mr. Lettuce's body disappear from the room and end up on top of that stage tower with the kid and a guitar? Oh, the missing guitar. The one, what?
Oh, Geeter.
Geeter, thank you. Holding a guitar, no less.
A perceptive observation, Judge. Oh, thanks. Kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough. Get a nose for things. Hehe.
You think you'd have a little more than a nose for it, dear Judge.
Judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved?
Had to fulfill the prophecy.
And how does that lead us to the killer? I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. Move the body to match Lamarar's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene.
Himself.
And also himself. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
Lamarar's song?
Yes, the guitar's serenade. Noticed its code, too, did you not?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
You're the one who told you about it, Clavier.
It's code?
All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. Just the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then, oh, that's you.
Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Lettuce's life was taken by a bullet.
The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky.
Yep, got that like an hour ago.
That's mad! It's like a story out of some fairy tale.
Why, thank you. I admit, I'd forgotten about the song. I didn't.
Either.
But there it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were.
Hey, well, I was the one who first noticed that.
True.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs. But killing? It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge. Very well. You've heard one song and dance, let's get on to the next, the cross-examination.
I'm not so sure I'm gonna be doing much singing. I'll do some yelling, though, with my cords of steel. But Mr. Lettuce spoke English. He may have come to this country before.
Looked into that, I assure you.
Oh?
This is his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own.
Great.
You see? No one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly not in such an elaborate fashion.
A motive in orange?
Does seem difficult to imagine. Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt. What did you say? Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song? Of course not, and I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of the claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music.
Even in my textbook at school.
Damn, really? And I've never heard of them. What does that say about me?
I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy.
Hold it! What do you mean by his signature in orange?
Bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes?
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. The other shot hit and also left a hole in the wall. That means what exactly? That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. It can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It'd be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range. Difficult to miss, you say? Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No, you can't be serious.
Archie, he can't see. That's why he missed?
It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly. That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Probably ideal conditions for tracking by sound. Blind shooter. No wonder he missed.
I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice. What do I do now? Be safe, that's what we do. Anyway, this is Ace Attorney. We raised an objection.
Yeah.
Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see.
Oh, how so?
Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim.
That's certainly possible.
And it might have been the revolver's fault.
The revolver?
It's a heavy gun, big recoil. The revolver was a very large caliber, correct?
The shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon. It could dislocate their shoulder.
Exactly. Oh, motherfucker! What if Bullet Head was off because his shoulder was fucking dislocated?
Oh.
Anyway, this whole, like, Bullet Head was off the beat is going to be something eventually. The defendant, Machi Tobai, is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would have thrown him off his aim. Thank you!
Convincing argument, to be sure.
Haha, take that, smug prosecution. With your cute face and your pretty eyes.
Apollo?
Huh? What? He still looks confident. That's a bad sign.
Bit about Machi being tiny? And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it?
No. Oh.
Does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant.
Should we check for any possible dislocated shoulders, perhaps?
Yeah.
Like, unless he's really good at just popping that thing back into place.
Even the defense seems to agree on that point.
Shut up, shut up, shut up! Cripes? He's saying cripes now? Good god. Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time.
But let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective.
Added dialogue, woo!
Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. 8.
You can't see who-
Oh.
What?
Had a realization, don't mind me.
Oh, okay. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that.
I wouldn't call it proof, per se.
Huh?
You've merely raised a possibility. Fraulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there's more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent.
But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place?
Ah, a very good point. Well, Fraulein Detective, if you would care to explain.
He certainly seemed sure of himself.
Call the crime scene, if you would.
There was a stepladder.
Ladder, I hardly know her. Was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents.
Isn't there a string that tied directly to the air vent? Would that not have
Think
gotten
so.
fucking I don't believe it.
Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tobai. Would have known that there would be a way out at the top of the stepladder.
But that's... Why is this the first I'm hearing about this?
You could have figured it out by yourself. Only needed to consider what the stepladder was doing there,
It was a very...
instead of arguing about what a stepladder is. Looks like the defense's objection has been squished by a stepladder. Valor forehead? What of ammunition, perhaps?
I've never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. I kinda like it.
Kinda like hot, I don't know.
Maybe he's got the scent of blood.
Hello, don't you have something? Anything?
Surely.
You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. I'll put him in his place.
Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove that, though? It's gonna
The
be-
realization I had earlier specifically relates to this.
Ah, I got you. Fine, I accept the prosecution's challenge.
Because I knew you would, Air Forehead.
Ah, you know me so well. What exactly am I up against here? Prosecution is saying the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did.
The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see.
We gamble. We gamble. Really hard. Music stopped. I think we're in the clear.
Nope.
Damn it! Ugh, front evidence, I'm guessing.
Apparently both love and justice are blind. Ooh, watch Love is
Damn.
Blind. Great show.
I have to think. There must be something. Anything. So it wasn't the keys. Was it just like the fucking layout of the room?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is that Lettuce wrote something down.
But they haven't even let us establish that he was writing.
Well, you can see it looks like it was something.
Yeah.
Emphasis on was.
Oh.
My assumption is the killer saw that, went, nuh-uh, wipe it away.
This is that evidence.
Photograph of the crime scene.
They threw me off because they didn't even let me acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point.
Then perhaps you'd best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah?
Oh, you want me to put my fingers to good use, do ya?
Yeah.
Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice.
The
Contradiction at the scene of the crime is... stuff.
Contradiction is right here.
Smeared bloodstains. Thought it was just my blurry vision. It really was blurry.
The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court.
This is not the first
Shout out
time.
Maggie Bird.
Almost as if you wrote something.
Ah, I get it. At least I think I get it.
It's what, Fraulein?
Oh, need me to catch you up, Paul?
Yeah.
Mr. Lettuce was shot. He tried to write something. What would he write but his shooter's name? What would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh?
Thanks for making my point for me.
Problem.
Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
That does seem to be a distinct possibility. Victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Sounds like someone used the logic button. Shout out Edgeworth. I hate that game.
Drat! I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
Neither would I.
No one has anything else to say?
About what?
You're forgetting about your, privilege here. That you are more able-bodied. And that perhaps someone disabled, say blind, wouldn't pick up on this? So the prosecution accepts this. You agree this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer. And that the killer tried to rub the name out.
What's your point?
What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Lettuce was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw that it was...
Saw?
Wait. Once he saw what it was?
But what did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind. Ah!
Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise?
Oh.
May I remind the court that the defendant, Machi Tobai, is blind. He couldn't have seen the shooter.
Impossible!
Order, order, order. Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet up to till now,
It seems I owes the court an apology. The Gavandiers are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred.
during our concert. Really, this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner.
I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here.
Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that?
I don't know, but it's a good look on him. I wish he'd do it more.
Apollo, you need to stop being a simp. He knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock. Get these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective. If I may. What? Tell me, how do you think that Machi Tobai is blind? Huh?
What did he say?
What are you saying? Of course he's blind. His sunglasses on. Of course. He's the blind pianist, right? So, please, don't lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way.
I have a report here on the defendant, Machi Tobai. According to this, Machi Tobai can see perfectly well. What?
This is my genuine confusion. You're pulling out some shit here.
His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well.
But you said...
What did I say exactly? A forehead, not once in the course of this trial. I claim the defendant was blind. The only one who did was Fraulein Detective.
But that's...
Significant fact, yes. Consider Machi Tobai sees. And he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent.
But that's not in the song.
I see no problems with this.
It's not in the song.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall? Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Air Forehead neatly explains those for us. Didn't miss because he couldn't see.
It was the recoil.
It was the kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. Simple accident, in other words. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies.
Brighter skies, you say? Maybe we should look at those lyrics again.
This is where the real fun begins, Air Forehead.
Yeah.
I knew you didn't have what it took.
Damn.
You jerk! What was I in here for? Comic relief?
Ah, apologize.
Haha. Oh, sorry.
There's no way to apologize.
Yeah. That's worse than some YouTube apology. Not all of them. There's some pretty bad ones out there. At least you didn't pull out a guitar as well.
All aboard the toxic gossip train.
He's angered the Trucy now. Look out.
If we can please end the bickering now. Whatever, I'm not leaving. Can't leave like this. Come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me. Your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant.
Don't say that.
Aha.
Uh-huh. What?
It's bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seems to be what happened, yes.
We might be able to find out what was really written here.
Really? You can do that? Yes.
Heard of luminol?
Fingerprinting technology.
That's right, with this. It's called luminol.
Luminol!
Do you know of it? It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
Ah, yes. Have we done Zeus tests yet? As if I'm going to tell you. The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court now.
It was a carpet? Huh.
Right, go for it, Apollo.
Huh? I have to do the test? Aren't you the scientist?
I'm a detective, man. Just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple.
Chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere. Perhaps a previous case of the Great Phoenix Wright.
Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it.
Ready? Easy as pie. Press space to spray an area. Give it a try.
Guys, if the entire court are focused on me.
Apollo, your hand's shaking.
Gah, let's do this. Do I have to click something else? Wow, it really works.
This must be the power of science.
It says IPXX314206.
1 second. Just gotta check something real quick.
Did we kill him?
I saw the 2 X's and got scared, but no, we need a 929, and I don't think there's a 929.
Yeah.
We're safe. We're safe. However,
It would be cool though if the serial number on Apollo's badge showed up as like as a vital clue.
that would be crazy. However, that does sort of imply it was someone maybe in law enforcement, perhaps. Also, what does this look like upside down? Emma, get your face out of the way. I'm trying to reach it.
It's just Leon all over again.
Darien Crescent. So let's see. GOZHLEE. XXDI? I don't know.
I think it's just numbers.
Why would this man bother with numbers? For realsies.
Good question. Is that the killer's name?
Maybe it is. If the killer was a robot.
Aha! I have it.
So what is it?
I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number. Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency? Yes. Most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. Why would he write that number?
So this is an Interpol thing, huh? Why would Mr. Lettuce even know a number like that?
You know who ended up working with Interpol and Miles Edgeworth Investigations? Francisca! Where is she? Where is she? Where's Lang? Good show, Fraulein Detective. Rock on. Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Come on, bud, let's have fun. Darian, you heard what we need. Check into this Interpol ID number.
Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27.
Okay.
It's definitely not mine or anything.
Alright, I trust you. Not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. But if this number is really that of an Interpol agent...
Oh, wait, I know. What if Machi Tobai is really an undercover Interpol agent, and also 14?
That would be a possibility.
What if someone else is an undercover Interpol agent?
Wow. A possibility, yes. One that would mark him as the killer for certain.
Why did it let us know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know.
Well, we have some time while we await Darian's report.
I figured it out. He only became the manager 3 months ago because he was planted by Interpol to investigate someone, perhaps a rogue Interpol member.
Ooh.
And so, when this unknown rogue Interpol member realized that Interpol was hot on his tail, he had to get rid of him.
Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? Curious mystery concerning Machi Tobai.
Or maybe not, depending on whose Interpol number this is. What are you talking about?
Caroline Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could in fact see just before the trial began. Seemed too much of a bother to tell you.
So you've dropped this reveal on us, but where's your proof? Like,
just trust me, bro. Had me until that last bit. Does this not raise a rather straightforward question? Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see?
I thought we already called it a publicity thing.
Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think, Air Forehead?
Huh? Me?
Machi Tobai pretended he was blind.
I think that's kind of clout chasey, if it's true.
Do you know why? How could he know?
Hey, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he?
He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on this whole time.
Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game?
Do you?
Else at the moment I heard that report, I knew why.
Fuck you.
I suppose people who have stolen over 1 million records really are something else.
What does that have to do with anything?
There was a reason why Machi Tobai pretended to be blind. It wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now?
No. It wasn't for himself?
Well, Mr. Justice, you present evidence that shows why the defendant had to feign blindness.
Give me a second. I think I want to finally pull out this.
I think that's a good call.
I'm gonna double check my other stuff, but that hardcore seems like my best bet. We haven't even touched it yet, so. Show evidence! Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means, no, it couldn't be.
Good show, Air Forehead. Seems you've thought of something.
Have I? I think I figured these things out on my own. Good question, Apollo. Good question. I hate having to take my cues from the sky. Very well. Look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see. Take that! Music cut. We won.
That is... Lemuror?
Lemuror and Machi Tobai. Recall their relationship.
in particular their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country.
Lammeror and her pianist would always walk together, she leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him.
That's right, because he was quote-unquote blind. She led him at all times, never letting him go.
All times.
Yet, we have just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar indeed. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep up this act the whole time?
Well, wasn't it part of their, performance?
I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That can only mean one thing.
Ah! Really?
Really. It was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lammeror.
What's this?
That's why she's so voice-focused.
So you mean to say that Lammeror she's...
Yes, Your Honor. Lammeror is blind.
What?
She's hidden it very well. I did not have the metal
Order,
for that.
order. This is crazy, Prosecutor Gavin. Is it now? Please set some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim.
The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead.
Hey, uncalled for.
Yet I see it is not what. Yet I see it is not vast in vain this time. It's quite correct.
But that makes no sense.
Oh, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something? Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lammeror herself? I believe she is still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo, what does this mean for our case?
Don't ask me. I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now.
Bailiff, bring in Lammeror.
Lammeror. Pains me deeply to call you back before us again in this way. Yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf.
Those eyes. She really can't see? Really?
It is true.
Gasp.
How funny it is that a tiny lie born in the Virginian countryside will one day grow to entangle the entire world.
So you are?
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became Lammeror. Know too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning for Lammeror.
I see.
You may recall me saying something towards the beginning of this trial, Air Forehead.
What's that?
I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witnesses.
Direct eyewitnesses.
Oh.
Ah.
Now, Lammeror, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here.
I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor.
I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. The producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
But this is a murder trial.
I apologize. It was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would... She told us the truth since the beginning.
What, that she opened the door?
And she said she saw nothing.
But then she lied about seeing the bullets, so...
Very well. Does the defense have anything to add?
I'd like to cross-examine.
What is there left to ask?
There's one thing in her testimony that bothered me.
Perhaps it was best we let you get it out of your system.
Oh, you're too kind.
No problem. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself.
Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness.
Okay. There was only one part that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. Hold it! When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Lettuce?
Of course, he was my manager.
So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. I was thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Is he right, Apollo?
Yes, I was.
Remember this?
He's alive! Mr. Lettuce, can you hear me? Cold, so cold. Witness. You're cold, don't worry, you'll be fine. Help is on the way. Witness can't see. Oh! Not you can't see, the witness can't see. Damn! Clever. Clever.
Very smart, Shu Takumi.
Hang in there, Mr. Lettuce. Tell me, who's the witness? The witness is Simon. Mr. Lettuce told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know. Tisk tisk. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself.
Meaning what, exactly?
There's no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more.
Witness, siren.
Heard them many times, along with a little play acting by our defense. He's acting it out each time. Oh my god. I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that.
Before? What came before that? Ah!
That's right, he tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness.
I see.
Unlike her. Too bad the defense did not. Well, Air Forehead. Try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time.
Order, order.
Recall Lamar's earlier testimony. He turned British. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that.
That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Letouce witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots, and the man's voice.
She hasn't been in the room at the same time Bullethead has.
Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course. Oh no.
I'm back with the ID. That's it, that's him! But Your Honor, the bailiff said...
What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here?
We have the results back from the investigation.
The investigation?
Ah, the Interpol numbers that Mr. Lettuce left us.
Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescent, your report, please.
Yeah, start speaking, Bullethead. I asked Interpol about the number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing.
Quick work as always, Darian.
Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent?
IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Roman Lettuce.
What?
Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Lettuce himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So, when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. And a cautious killer tried to wipe him away.
Mr. Lettuce was an undercover Interpol agent. So him being Lamarar's manager...
was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found.
Well, out with it.
It concerns that 45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently, it belonged to Roman Lettuce. Thank you! About time! He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. And the registration number on the revolver matched.
So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. Hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver.
So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything.
It's gotta tie in somehow, you'd think.
Yeah, somehow.
Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help.
Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Thank you!
Wait. Lamarar, is something the matter?
That's him. That's the voice.
That voice just now.
Darian?
Mr. Darian, is it? It was him. I'm sure of it.
It was him? You aren't saying...
Ooh, Clavier's sweating.
That voice I heard talking to Mr. Lettuce when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darian.
Is this some kind of joke?
That was a new animation right there.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What? No way.
room fell into such a chaotic state. The trial had to be suspended temporarily. Thank fuck. Thank fuck!
Thank God.
I've never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Let me roar, fingering Darian Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice? Let me roar. Heard. Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it.
Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and please do check out Kendra's channel below. With that, I will see you later, whenever later may be.